D.
I got a copy for you.
Well, I found the CPS. I don't have the product.
Steve, you're a lifesaver.
I have a copy for you.
We'll talk. We'll talk after the show.
Ed, I love it. Ed, welcome to the Nuggets, the Russian roulette of ham radio. That could not be more on the money for tonight. We, between Jim and myself, I don't know about Steve and Brad, but we have had a radio day. This thing right here, this thing, the X6200 has. It's fun. Don't get me wrong, and that's what radio should be. But it like the balance between fun and frustration. I don't know. So, speaking of frustration,
I got one in my box.
Yeah, this is an NXDN radio. Yep.
I actually had it at Hamcation, and it worked great.
Did you?
Yep.
I've had it working on NXDN, and I've got it programmed for a couple of repeaters, which I did like a couple years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been in the shoebox on the shelf with all the other forgotten toys.
Yeah.
But I reformatted the computer that the CPS was on.
Hi, Doc.
And didn't realize that
lost it.
It was complicated. So
for those of you just joining us, welcome to Ham Nuggets. This is a show where we know a little bit about radio, but we usually don't know what we're doing. And tonight I've got this ringer guy here, Steve, KC1AWV. I always want to say like AWW. There's too many.
Actually, sounds really awesome in Morse.
Oh, you got to pound that out for us.
Nice. I can't pound it out, but I every time I hear my repeater, identify itself, I'm like, oh yeah, it's got a nice little beat to it,
So we're doing this thing where we have. Let me pull up the extra camera here. We have these. Oh, let's do like some production level stuff. Can we do that? Look at that. We have these M17 boards, and my camera's upside down. And this lovely 3D printed case comes from my buddy Garth, WG2G.
It's an awesome looking case. Awesome.
The knob is coming. Well, I don't know if you can appreciate the quality on camera, but look at the sides on that. Look at that.
That's beautiful.
That's
3D.
You can't see the typical 3D printed striation stuff on there. The knob should be here tomorrow, along with some other stuff for some future Nuggets episodes, because we're going to play with this thing here, because this is eventually supposed to also do M17. I hear it doesn't do it right now. Is that right, Steve?
That's correct.
Yeah. So this is APRS. We'll play with that later. But I don't even know what I was saying before I got all sucked in with how wonderful this 3D print is. The case is available somewhere.
Yeah.
Yes.
Is that on Thingiverse or is that a Garth custom? It's
on Thingiverse. It's on the webpage, and I did a really. Let me remove this. Hello, Jim.
Hey.
I did a really bad job of setting the show up today because I've been busy doing stuff with this thing, and it's radio. Radio is either fun or frustrating, and sometimes frustrating is fun, and sometimes fun is frustrating. And you guys have done radio. You know what we're talking about. So we're going to try to get the M17 board connected to a radio through a cable, and then once it gets connected to the radio through the cable, then we've got this MMDVM hat sitting on top of a Raspberry Pi thing, so that the RF locally in my house can get into Jim's house or into Steve's house or even into Brad's house. And speaking of, how you doing, Brad?
I'm doing great. I was talking about a frustrating day. I was trying to do a little bit of sort of pre-show stuff with the FT818, and I set up I think it's the CT167 cable. Then I looked at the back of the radio and I realized, it's a CT39, which is a total different cable.
Oh.
So the pin. So hopefully I have some of the pinouts going, but a little bit of frustration. But
dude,
Doc, you know how it is.
We were talking about it before the show. It's been that kind of day. Plus, which it's storming off and on here in waves. So if I lose you guys, love you, mean it, bye.
He'll be back.
Yeah, it's very possible. Who knows? Or there's a car crash and they knock out the internet, because they always hit the internet post. Always. Every single time.
Can't get enough of us.
Look, how do you guys like this? Is this weird, isn't it?
I think it's pretty sexy, actually. I like the half fish tank. It's probably the cheapest fish tank you'll ever have.
That is actually supposed to be the show, but it went to the screensaver. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Goodness. I can see the bottom half of my head.
Right? Yeah, well, if I zoom the camera out, you can see all of it, but it gets weird, and you see all the dirty crap on either side that I'm hiding.
Look at all the stuff that I got going on behind me.
Right.
It's a mess.
Well, there's my wife's junk over
It's all
here,
darkened
and
out.
I have more junk over there. And
Wait a minute. You're not calling the flex junk. You sort of pointed that way.
no. There's junk you can't see past the flex. Damn it!
Other right.
Crap.
There you go.
Over here.
Correct.
There's
Jim, your
monitor
OM is
and
showing.
keyboards. Yeah, I know. Every time. Well, I tried to change the horizontal so that like their names read forward and the clock is forward, but then that screws up. Never mind.
It's backwards anyway, because when I point to you, I'm actually pointing over there. I just know to point backwards, because if I don't, then all the letters are backwards.
I'm going to point over there. Oh, look, it worked. The only
Jim is a
one
terrible
I can get
weatherman.
is the down. The down always works. The
Yeah,
right, left,
that
just
never
baffles
changes.
me every time.
Wait. All right, show me down again.
Oh, you son of a bitch. See that worked.
So we had a real quick question here from Theodore T2E0GEY. Are there any chances in the near future of a self-sufficient M17 radio, the radio that does not need an external radio? And Steve is shaking his head. Yes. Tell us about it, Steve.
So Jerry over at CSI Connect
Yep.
Systems, if you know him, he's been developing a digital voice radio for quite a while that is supposedly all mode, all DV mode. That hasn't come to fruition yet, but the M17 project was reached, or rather, the people at OpenRTX were contacted by Jerry to see if we could help them bring an M17 handheld to the market. And they are currently working with the OpenRTX guys. The manufacturing, like the stuff that has to change inside the radio that they're using, is already complete. It's just a matter of them manufacturing the hardware side of it. Software side of it should be super simple. They're all pretty much based on the same sort of MD380 390 kind of hardware architecture,
Right.
So it's still the same MCU, it's still the same radio chip, et cetera. So creating the firmware shouldn't be too difficult. It's the actually getting the hardware manufactured to the specifications that's required for M17 to work on the radio. That way, basically what we're doing is we're creating the hardware mod on the radio before it hits the shelf, so you don't have to do it yourself. And then we just load up the OpenRTX firmware on there, and it'd be a completely cromulent M17 handheld.
Oh, look at you, you're so
Cromulent.
fancy with cromulent.
Cromulent.
I like this guy.
Popped into my head. But there's also another option. As a matter of fact, Jim, when you were showing that ICOM radio, we're talking about the Module 17. There's an iteration of the Module 17 called the Micro 17, which is a digital voice board that replaces the NXDN board in that radio. So you pop out the NXDN, radio, or the NXDN, card that's in there.
Yeah.
And you popped in a Micro 17, and now it's an M17 radio. This was started to be developed by a couple of folks out in Belgium, and there was another guy that's in Turkey. Can't remember his call off the top of my head. He came up with the hardware design. I've got 4 of them. I have 3. I sent 2 to Texas, but I have 3 here, and
Texas.
we're just waiting. We're waiting for the firmware to be finished for that. I expect to see something around Friedrichshafen to actually see some sort of like movement forward on it.
Shut up and take my money.
Right.
It's not that expensive. It's about $40 per
It shouldn't be. Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
And then if you get it from like JLC PCB or PCB Way, I think we did it through PCB Way, and it was like $200 for 5 or something like that.
Hey, Shane.
That's cool. Somebody had told me about the ICOM board. Somebody mentioned that either at Hamvention, whatever
Most
last
likely.
week was,
Yep.
or on here or in the chat or something. And I got excited about that because there's at least 3 or 4 people that still use NXDN in the ham world, and other than that, no one cares.
Actually, as a matter of fact,
not here, at least, not around here.
You just have to find that old ICOM NXDN radio.
look at my butt.
We
So
weren't looking.
It was nice. It was nice. Thanks, Steve.
Those pants look good, son. I'm just
At
saying.
least I had pants on.
Right. Thank you.
So
We
yeah,
were on the dump button.
Yeah.
this is the HT version of that radio that the mobile that
Okay.
you have. So I've been testing the Micro 17 in this. So far, physically, it fits. And that's as far as I've gotten with it because I don't have any firmware for it. So
Right.
yeah.
So when's Friedrichshafen? Is that like soon? I don't remember.
Well, I fly out June 25th.
Okay.
And then I'll be back on Monday, the following Monday. So that's the last
Couple
weekend
months.
of June.
Yeah, couple months still.
Couple months.
Month.
So
1 month.
Seems like 2
Right,
months. Steve.
Right.
So the benefactor for tonight's show is our friend Doc Brad. He's the one that sent in these M17 boards, and I think there might have been what's the word I'm looking for? Some ulterior motive, some self. What do you call that, Jim?
Self-fulfilling prophecy.
When you want to get something, and
Quid pro quo,
you,
Clarice. Quid pro quo.
there you go. So we're gonna do a lot of the work here. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna stumble our way through it and grunt and swear and all that other kind of stuff. And Brad's just gonna just have a working product at the end of this. So totally
True,
worth it, right, Brad?
Well, I will say that there may be a little bit of that, but also it's contributing to the show, right? You have to come up
Of
with
course,
projects for Nuggets. Like you have to find
all the time.
things.
Yeah.
All the time.
Well, so far,
I mean,
this
that's
is
its
much
own
more,
challenge.
This is much more interesting than the 6 or 7 weeks of SDR software that was kind of crappy, and certainly it beats D-Star. What was the other one we did that seemed like it never ended? Laura.
Laura never ended. Yeah, we actually gave up on Laura.
Really?
Come on.
Got rid of her as a girlfriend.
Ditched her
many times. Yes.
Plaintiff number
So-
I
one
use it
out
all
the door.
time.
If you didn't see last week's show, it's in that direction. It's in the past.
Ah!
It kind of doesn't matter. What we did was we started out with knowing, where did it go? There it is. We knew that we needed to upgrade the MMDVM hat on the Pi-Star config. So the first thing we did was we installed Pi-Star on the SD card, and then we got the whole thing up and running, and then we did a firmware upgrade on the MMDVM hat because Steve told me a long time ago in a previous Nuggets episode that you need to do that.
Yes.
And so we did those two things, and then we had bonus time because it was actually really easy to do. I was actually kind of shocked at how smoothly last week's show went. But no foreshadowing, none. So we went ahead and did the M17 firmware flash on this board, and this board is up and running, and that went really well. So then I pulled out the 3D printed case and put that all together, and this is now up and running as a 3D printed case minus the knob. Again, the knob is coming tomorrow, and we will sally forth from there. So what we need to do tonight, let's go over the box of magic here. This is an HDMI converter to plug the Raspberry Pi into the computer. We played with that a little bit. We have an interesting thing where we have to find whether USB cables are data or
cable.
power. Yeah. So I have a couple of those in here, and one of these is, and we'll have to play the game again because I didn't label it. I think both of those might be.
Didn't you buy a dingus? I bought a dingus just for doing that.
I put it in my cart, and I am a cheap bastard, so I don't subscribe to Prime. And
True.
whenever my cart reaches $35, true, I'm a cheap bastard. Whenever my cart reaches $35, then I get a shipment in. And so we pulled these cables out because this is what's on the docket for tonight. Is the CT167 cable, and this is upside down to my view. And this is the CT39, but I think this goes by a different name. It depends on what radio you're connecting to. This is the 6-pin Yaesu cable, or the 6-pin radio cable, and a lot of radios are 6-pin mini DIN, like PS2 keyboard is literally what this connector is, compatible. And we're going to pull out, you see, the radio. Because that's the next thing. The radio that I am going to try with to start, it's upside down, of course, is the Yaesu FTM 6000. And on the back of this radio, there is a 10-pin data connector. And I believe that's the CT167. So we're going to try and wire up a CT167 cable. So what we have is the proper 10-pin connection on one end and bare wires scary bare wires with multiple color codes on the other end. And then there, if you refresh, if you haven't, I was lazy. I was in a mood today when I created the show, and I didn't put the links in, but I put the links in during the show, so it counts. If you refresh, you'll see the links down below. You will see the link to the cable, and you'll see the link to the breakout connector. These things are actually really cool, so we're going to break into that. It comes with a screwdriver. Let me get this stuff out of the way.
So that's interesting. You kind of got shafted on the cable there, Chief.
Why is that?
Well, let me show you. So the cable that I got, because the 5061 has a 25 pin. You remember these, boys?
Yeah,
From
yeah.
back in the day. 25 wired a ton of these by hand. But these are all labeled with the pin number, and they have like little DuPont connectors on the end of them. So all I literally have to do is jab this in the holes and drop some solder. If I had the CPS software working, it would have been great. But
So Steve has shared with us in the private chat the link for the cable.
Yes, I sent you the one specific for the 167.
I got it.
Excellent. So that's the one that we're going to use to work today. And I don't know what you're saying, Jim, because I'm okay with this. This is actually
Steve, do you have one also for the CT39?
Mine
the
are
schematic for that?
tinned.
Let me take a look. Yes, CT39A. So I can copy. I'll put that in the chat as well. Ding, just like that.
So this
Guys,
is pretty slick. I didn't
pasting a bunch of links in the chat for us here.
So step one, because you always do this wrong. You always build the whole cable out and then get all pissy because you put it on backwards. But put the thing on first.
How many of us have not done that and got everything wired and soldered up and realized, oops?
Yeah, like forgetting the shrink wrap or whatever.
Time.
All the time.
We got that. I've already slid that on. That is weird. Does that pop out? Oh,
yes.
Look at that. That pops out. Oh, that is sweet. So these are called terminal blocks or breakout cables or whatever. So it's got the serial pin connection on the back.
Nice.
And that is what plugs into the radio controller. I had to add an extra word there. And then from there, Jim's going to walk me through wiring all this in. And Jim and I have already talked on the back end, and he has agreed to remunerate me for my radio if it fries due to his bad instructions. But all you have to do...
What?
I
have no
Steve,
knowledge
you witnessed
of
this pre-show, right?
I did.
Unscrew, screw in, and you're good to go. So it should be fairly
Now,
quick.
do those wires have ferrules on the end, or are they tinned at least?
They are tinned.
Yeah, they should be tinned, but I'm going to give you a tip. If you don't have ferrules yourself to crimp on, strip off maybe a little bit more and then fold it over in half. That way you have...
Oh, to make it thicker, yep.
Because those 26 gauge wires are an absolute pain to try and make sure that you have good contact in those terminal blocks.
Yep. And Steve, do you know how to say ferrule correctly?
I have been corrected many, many times.
I'm from Boston. I don't say anything right.
I say feral.
So feral is a cat.
Well,
Yes.
it means wild. It's not a cat specifically. It means a wild.
So these
animal.
are wild connections, and when you
Those
put a
are wild
wild
connections.
connector on it, then you make it more wild. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
I say ferrule, and then I get yelled at by sad hams in my comments.
Ferrule.
You pronounce ferrule wrong.
It's a weird word, and it just depends on which syllable you accent first. So
yes, Ferrule, fair, fur, and then rule, 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 or feral. You know, because English comb sounds the same as numb, comb and numb, or dumb, or some.
Right.
I'm channeling Gallagher at this point. Half the chat knows what I'm talking about.
I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I do too.
Yeah.
I actually, for a second, I thought we were on Jeopardy, and this was the homophone category.
Right. So I'll take homophones for 1,000. What do I need to do next?
So those connectors are on. those connectors that Sparky's got up there on the screen, that little green breakout thing, those are on Amazon, and those are awesome. And they
There's
make
a link
those,
in the description.
They make those for USB. And if you ever have got to wire a USB cable for whatever reason, you need those, because you'll go nuts trying to deal with those little tiny USB wires, which are like, I don't know, like 30 gauge or something. They're tiny.
So we can do for rules.
They won't
Look at
fit
him.
in the case if you put
So
those
we
on.
can't do for rules. We'll put that away.
Well, I mean, you can still do it.
Let
You
me
just
see
won't
here.
have the black case on the outside.
No, I want it pretty. I want to make it look like it was meant to look.
Oh, Lord.
See what you guys joined in on here?
So my daughter's mother is from Boston, like born there and lived there her entire life.
Boston.
And she hates seafood, won't touch it in any form. And I'm like, how can you live in Boston and not eat seafood? Which
I
is
hate
She goes to
weird.
Boston Market.
Well, I mean, it's got to be New England clam chowder. The other two are
Yeah.
just too weird. I love clam chowder.
You know, there's an ongoing
Chowder.
debate between New England clam chowder and Manhattan style clam chowder.
Chowder.
And there's like the Manhattan style has tomato in it.
It's
So it's
nasty.
a red one, and I'm like, that
Yep.
doesn't make any sense to me. And one of my coworkers, he's from Brooklyn, so he's like, oh yeah, it's so much better. Oh God, speaking of New York, look who just joined.
That's not nice.
Yeah.
Ed, I
There's
missed
also-
you.
There's also Rhode Island clam chowder, which is like a
Oh, it's
thin,
clear.
soupy mess. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No,
I don't know if
it's
you
not
like
New
this
England
is the
clam chowder,
this
it's
is the
crap.
weird thing about like human food consumption thing. Let's take something from the sea that we dig out of the dirt and cover it in cow's milk.
Sea bugs.
Tasty.
Oh, that's why I don't like lobster or crab either, because
What?
they're sea bugs.
I know, and they're
The
tasty
spiders
bugs.
of the sea.
They're delicious.
I just don't understand it.
That's now my wife likes. She'll eat fish. Me and my daughter both are shellfish all day. We want crustaceans.
I couldn't eat a clear fish soup. That's
It's
just
nasty.
yeah.
I had it one time and I said, no, take this abomination away. Because it didn't really say what it was on the menu, and I thought, Rhode Island clam chowder. Okay, let's give that a shot. Nope.
Mud bugs.
Talking about crawfish, crawdads.
Now
What is
I
it?
don't
What is
care
it?
for
Bite the
crawfish
tail
a
and
whole
suck
lot.
the head.
Yeah.
Bite the head and suck the tail. I don't know which way you do with that.
Now Ed, in spite of Ed being a Phillies fan,
Phillies.
well, he's in.
Not you,
Different
Ed.
Ed.
He's Philly
Oh,
Ed. Oh,
Philly
not you,
Ed.
The other Ed. The other Ed. Yeah, Philly Ed is, but he's got it right. Yep, shrimp, crab, lobster, absolutely.
Inside
I don't
Louisiana with good food.
I don't mind a good sushi. There's really good sushi places in Boston. I'll have that all day long.
I love sushi.
Yeah.
Put that over there, and then we do that again. Okay, so Jim, you got to walk me through this cable. See these colors?
Yes.
What do I do with these things? Where is it? The whole
Well,
thing's upside down.
You need to ring out which pins those are, because I have no idea.
So the link that Steve sent in the chat, they should be colored correctly,
Yes.
right, Steve?
The
let me pull that.
wiring
Okay.
diagram does have the colors on it, and that is that was tested by another person. That wasn't tested personally by me.
I mean, we should check like once or twice just to make sure that we're on the right track. I guess we'll test it at the end after we wire it up.
Yeah, hang
That'll
on.
be
Let
easier.
me find.
I have
Steve, is that the second link, the Module17 wiring diagrams?
Yes.
be it,
So
yeah.
there's
Ken, I
one
feel
that
you,
says
brother.
167 diagram. And
167. Okay.
Yeah. I have the screen shared on my computer. If you
Oh.
want to bring it up, it says Brad WPSD. You can pull that up.
Look at
Oh,
that.
look at that.
See?
Doc, you're
I'm working in
hired.
the back.
I'm out. I'm out. Doc is better at this than I am.
Doc, you're my new sidekick.
Well, you tried that
silence.
before. It didn't work out too well. Doc, can
No,
you
it didn't.
control plus it and make it
Yeah.
a little bigger?
Oh, look at Jim. The first thing that happens when somebody else shares the screen, Jim's like, plus that up, son.
Well, I can't read it
Right.
because it's small.
Is that better?
Yeah, it's okay.
All right, so let's pin this. Let's ring this thing out, Jim. I think that's a great idea because I don't want to fry my radio because you'd have to buy me another one.
So I ain't buying you nothing. Pin 1 goes to pin 2 on the DE9. And that
it
should be your
brown. Yeah.
brown
Brown.
wire. Yep. I pulled it up here, Doc. So
You only have to worry about the 4 signal lines at the very top. You don't have to worry about the cat control because cat control isn't built into the firmware yet. So you just need the transmit, ground, PTT, and RX.
So
Brown,
you said
black,
pin 1
red,
is
and
brown?
orange.
pin 1 is brown. But do what Steve said because he's smarter than me about this. He's been messing with it. I'm reading the entire pin out. So pin 1 of the DIN goes to pin 2 of the DE9, and that's the brown wire.
Oh, weird. It's upside down. That's going to hurt. I hate
Remember that the diagram, you're looking at the male end. So you're looking at the pins, you're not looking at the socket.
that. Right. Yeah, see, to me, that's backwards.
But it's upside down on my screen here. At least it
Let me
looks
turn it
upside
right side
down.
up for you.
So
It's the lower left pin as I'm looking at it, eyeballs on.
so there's a little indentation on the shell of the connector. That little indentation should be down to you.
Okay, so it was.
Yeah.
It's down
so-
to me now.
So pin 1 should be the top left.
It is the top right is brown,
Who the hell made this?
unless it's orange.
Well, orange would be pin 4.
Yep.
So you might be touching too many pins.
Your
if
probe
you-
is too large, Steve.
If you've got
I hear that all the time.
if you've got like a spare DuPont jumper, you could probably squeeze it in there and
Yeah, it's the right
isolate a
pin.
pin.
It's the. I don't know. Is it gonna get any better? There you go. You see the pins now.
That DuPont jumper
blocked by my
hint is a
finger.
lifesaver, Steve.
Oh,
I
yeah.
bet it is. Yeah, so it's the third pin, which is not the one that lines up with the diagram.
You sure that's brown and not red?
It's that color.
Oh, it's orange.
Well, so there's an orange.
There's
Don't get
an
me wrong.
orange.
The one under the
Okay.
middle of your
So
thumb is
maybe-
what I
maybe-
call brown.
Maybe the
I've
diagram
got yellow,
is
brown, red, purple, black, blue,
oh, you know what
orange.
no. You know
white.
what this is? The photo that is in the wiring diagram was taken from the Yaesu manual. So what you're seeing on the photo in the diagram is actually what you see on the radio. So that would be the female socket. So the pin that you toned out should
Is
be
the right one.
correct. Yes.
Okay. So that brown pin goes to what connector? What pin
Two.
on the
Deuce.
pin 2?
Dose.
Dose.
1 hour for pin testing.
Yeah, I know.
Well, then the next
That's why
comment
we
was
do it by
even-
color.
rookie numbers. Them's rookie numbers. And then we
Steve,
have the
you've been on
Aussie
Nuggets
weighing
before. You
in
know how
with the
this
cable
works.
is tan.
Oh,
David, it's not tan, it's brown.
Right,
The
it's
ISO
taupe.
color code
khaki.
is brown.
Right?
We're not
Okay,
using
so I have
bells.
that screwed in. And now if we do this right, that should go there. And that should go. Oh, we did it.
Beep.
Yep.
All right.
Aces. All right.
Oh, cable making is fun, right?
All right. The
Next
black
color.
wire goes to 8. That's your
So I have
ground.
2 black wires.
So the thick black wire is the one that's ground.
Okay, I do have a thick and a thin.
The thin black wire is a signal.
Now, see on this diagram, there's 2 blacks.
Black. All right. So the thick black is case ground or shell ground, and the thin black is the signal ground.
Okay.
Okay, so the thick black goes to which?
Goes to
Number?
the ground on the thing. There's a ground pin after 8.
There is.
This says 8's the ground. So pin 2 on the Yaesu side goes to pin 8 on the DE9.
Okay, well, let's get this wired in first, and then we'll test it. We'll ring it out. This is going to get really interesting as we get more pins in place. This is going to be an hour and a half of just putting these pins in.
That's what they're saying in the chat. This is actually
They're
easier.
smart.
If Steve had to solder all these, we'd be here for a while.
Actually, soldering is a bit quicker.
See, I
Well,
was
I was gonna say
jazzed
it's-
because mine has the DB25. The shell's already done. All I got to do is stab wires in the M17 board.
I've already broken a sweat, folks. You have to suffer for your craft, right?
Ham says you should. Frank said you should strip the wires back more.
I hear you, Frank. I don't have a wire stripper that detailed anymore. I don't know what happened to it.
You have
All right, so we are
teeth.
on ground.
You ready?
I need to
You're-
ring it out.
go ahead.
What? Tell me on the
2 on the
Yaesu
Yaesu.
side.
2.
So it's the pin next to the one that we just did.
Yes, I'm going in order from the Yaesu side.
Oh, you are so amazing. I don't tell you that often enough.
Thank you.
Oh, look at that. That's the middle
Bob's
pin
your
on the
uncle.
top row of 3.
Robert's
Yes.
your mother's brother.
The 3 right next to each other, not the 3 with the air gap. All right, next.
Red from 3 over to 5. Yaesu 3 to DB95.
All right, let's do number 5.
Izzo is in here. What's up, Don? Speaking of Don, we don't have the Don of Dons.
Must be club night.
Club night would be my guess because I'm missing his snark right now.
Where's Jody? Speaking of snark, isn't Jody supposed to be here for backup?
He's not here either.
All right. It's nice that it came with the screwdriver to get the job done. That's a nice touch. All right, so 5. This is one of the things where you need like 7 hands.
Goes to Yaesu 3.
5. Trying to find the slot in the screwdriver. All right, there's 1. Oh,
I've never seen a monkey try to shag a football, but I believe this is close.
Right,
It's
that
like
rings
those microsurgery YouTube videos.
Right?
Doc,
You
is
just
this
sit
running
there and
close to
watch it.
home?
Yes.
Doc probably has a $80,000 robot to do some of
Yeah,
this.
he's
stuff.
already done. Okay, next.
All right. Orange.
I've
From
got
Ye-
orange.
Yaesu 4 goes to DB96.
Yep. B96.
And Doc, you're running a different cable than the one we're making, is what I've heard.
Well, I have a CT39. I see the diagram that they sent was for a CT39A, and I think
I
that
don't know the difference.
pins out a little bit differently. Because I was just looking in the FT818 manual to see, what the pins are on the back of the radio and trying
So-
to match that up.
You said to pin 6, Jim?
Yes. Orange to pin 6 on the DB9.
All right, little did you know, Doc, you're up next. If you think I'm sweating, wait till it's your turn, boss.
Has anyone
What?
watched somebody play that bomb defusal game?
No, I want to do
It's-
that. That
it's-
looks cool.
This whole situation is similar to that. You got Jim telling them what wire goes where, and Steve actually doing the
Right.
work.
I don't have any friends that are that nerdy that are local. I have a few friends that are that nerdy.
You know what, Jim? We have to do an
All right.
escape room.
What's this bomb?
We have to do an
defusal?
escape room.
I forgot the name of
Nugget
it off the top of
stream.
my head.
It has fairly convoluted
Don't blow
instructions.
yourself up or something.
Yeah,
Okay,
it
so
looks
that was
really
orange.
fun.
And where do we go next, Jim?
All right. Have you got orange Yaesu
do.
4 to DE96?
KZU 4 to DE96.
Keep talking and nobody explodes.
That's it.
what it's called.
That's what it's called.
Yeah.
All right, that's the one. We got it right.
Okay. Yaesu 7 should be your blue wire.
That you can stop there.
Okay.
No,
you don't-
I
you
want to
don't
get them
need-
all done. We're here.
No.
Let's do it.
All right.
Now,
Then
Steve,
you-
this says Cat RX and Cat TX. We don't need those.
No.
It's true. So here's the deal. I did this once
Okay.
before, and I blew up an amp. All these wires are getting connected.
Actually,
Blue.
he blew up 4
don't
amps.
want you to blow up your 6,000.
He's blown
No.
up 3 or 4 amps.
This will be the second time I've used that radio. I'd like to use it more than twice. Okay. Blue is the next wire.
Yeah, Yaesu 7 to DE93.
3. This is actually going swimmingly. I like this. The only way this could go better is if this jack here was out the back instead of out the sides.
Right.
So blue to 3, right?
Yep. Someone did mention, Russ mentioned, did you put the shrink wrap on before you started doing all that?
Yeah, we talked about that. Yep,
Okay.
I did.
Because I don't see any shrink wrap on there.
It's this thing.
Okay.
You'll see when we're done. I
Okay.
hope. Blue to 3, right?
Yes.
So Russ in the chat, he's got a good point.
Uh-oh.
So he
What'd
says
he
you
say?
probably it's good that we're doing this for experience, but you can probably have 10 of them made for $25. So Handmade Parts actually has made cables for the Module 17 before, and I'm sure that if you asked nicely, he could probably do it again.
Cool. And if I had 24 other ICOM 5061Ds, I'd probably do that. But
That's the problem. I only want one of these. And I
Yeah.
got to do a whole nother one after this. Get in the hole.
I've said that more than once.
I threw it out there. I set it up. Thank you, Jim.
You teed it. Or I've said, get in my belly.
This is where I need to pull out my hemostats, Doc.
I mean, we're
I
only
was
37
just going to
minutes
say
into
you
this.
need a set of hemostats there, right?
I have them. I just don't know where they are. I haven't even
Doc,
clue.
the handiest tool I kept from the fire department was my McGill
crap.
forceps. So useful.
I'm looking.
I have some hemostats too, some Hamfest hemostats, but I have real McGills from the fire department, and those are awesome for a lot of
Yep.
stuff.
There they
Is
are.
that a brand name, Jim?
No, they're long tool ends, and then they have smooth circular pincers on the end of the arms, like this, and there's a slight bend to them, and they're designed for removing objects from places objects shouldn't be removed from in the field. So typically, as a paramedic, the only place I'm going to worry about removing stuff from, the butt thing, that goes to the ER. I'm not touching that. But like if you had a choking victim, you can use the McGills to pull out the goo, the weenie of death or hard candy or whatever. But they're designed to be used next to soft tissue. There's no serrations on them.
The weenie of death.
Yeah.
He means a hot dog.
Hot dog of
Yes.
death. Yeah.
We definitely need a T-shirt made up like that.
Weenie of death.
Where's our buddy James? He's the t-shirt man.
I hadn't seen James in the chat yet either.
You could buy an M17 t-shirt if you wanted.
Right. Well, James will make
That'll
a
be our
quirky,
next one.
What
he'll make
the
a quirky
hell?
QRP t-shirt out of anything.
All right, this screw is stuck. Why is that screw stuck?
You sure that you opened it all the way before you stuck the wire in?
I opened it all the way. I opened them. I opened all of them all the way first.
I'll back off a few rotations and then try it again.
Yeah, I'm trying. It doesn't turn in either direction.
This
Okay,
is why
Steve,
we
you
can't
were
have
right.
nice things.
Having done
Okay,
this,
so-
God knows how many times, I've cross-threaded those little tiny wiring terminals so many times.
I should have turned the AC on first. What's the command for getting my brow mop, Doc?
Sponge.
Bunch.
I think that's context though too.
That's true.
Fracking surgery here. This is why you signed me up for this. You just wanted me to feel your pain.
I actually used a set of hemostats when I built the one with. I did this exact thing that you're doing now, but
So
then
I
I
found-
did not have a radio that has that 10 pin.
So I found the
Well, when I do the
M17
6 pin, it's gonna be the
t-shirts. Is
same.
that it?
Nice.
Nah,
Yep, that works.
I used
All
to
right.
work for SIG.
Did you
Pin
really?
3, right,
Yeah.
Jim?
I always tell everybody that too. They're like, "Oh, M17, that's a SIG."
Blue wire, yes.
Steve, do we
Blue
have a
wire.
link for the M17 t-shirts? We
Sure.
can drop into the chat.
I was
Yeah, if they
Googling
want to.
for it. That was the first one that came up.
I've only got a few designs up, but
If you drop it in the private chat there, and I can post it to
Okay,
the masses.
so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Jim, what's the Yaesu plug connector?
For
Blue wire.
7.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, awesome. Done. That works.
Gray, Yaesu 8 to DE4 on the gray.
Oh shit. I don't have gray.
Well, Steve said you don't need it anyway.
I have
You
green,
probably
white,
won't blow it up.
purple, black, and yellow.
so
Okay.
the gray must be purple.
It's Yaesu 8. So Steve,
Okay, is there another purple?
Tio, you could ring out Yaesu 8 to one of your other wires and see which one it taps to.
Helping hands do not work on a camera, folks. So if you're thinking it, I thought it myself.
He can read my mind.
Let's see. Share that. And there we go. Here is your M17 swag. And I will paste this link in the chat as well. For Yins.
So that one that's in the on the left, the gray one, that's actually the PCB layout for the Module 17 on a t-shirt.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, cool.
That's really cool.
I could read that better with my glasses on than I can read the board. I like that.
Right.
Use your shirt to do to see where you need to connect to on the board.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I don't know. Let's pass this color and come back to it later.
That's it. That's the last one.
I've got 4 colors remaining.
Those are not connected.
You got
Sure.
10 wires on a DE9. You're gonna have
Jim,
one. Even if
He
you
does not
connected
wanna
them
blow
all,
up
you
his
still have
amp,
one.
Jim.
Huh?
He doesn't want to blow up his amp.
Yeah. It's probably a little late for that. Let's see. I need to.
So
move.
Marvin's saying, "What is M17?" We have 2 people in the chat in the live stream here who are fully who are really good at hi again. Randy.
You screw it up all the time. Shut your face.
We want to know what is M17. So maybe Steve or Ed.
Oh,
Drag them to number 1.
that's a question we always get. We'd think that after what is it, 5 years of doing this, we would have a little bit more knowledge out there. But so M17 basically started as a project from Wojciech over in Poland, SP5WWP. He was playing around with digital voice modes and everything didn't like the way that certain things were working with DMR and Fusion and D-Star and all the other stuff, because they used closed source voice codecs. So M17 was born out of the need for a digital voice mode that could be used by amateur radio, that wasn't encumbered by any patents or royalties or copyright or anything like that. So M17 is a digital voice mode that uses codec 2, which is a free and open source voice codec. Thanks, Ed. That was developed by Dave Rowe, VK5DGR, I believe, down in Australia. And so if you're familiar with FreeDV, which is a digital voice mode that's used on HF, M17 is kind of the iteration of that for VHF and up. It's a faster, or it's a higher bit rate for the wider bandwidth that we have available on amateur radio up in VHF and higher. So it's a higher quality voice codec as far as I'm concerned. Sounds better over the air. As long as you have decent hardware that's actually taking the audio and reproducing it, such as decent quality microphones, decent quality speakers, it's miles ahead of anything else that's currently available.
Now,
that's
go
how
ahead.
MP3. Geez, I see MP. I'm seeing things. I'm repeating them. M17. Oh shit! Now I lost my train of thought. So it started as a voice or digital voice system. Now it's a giant community that is bringing open source stuff to amateur radio. So what we like to say is that it's bringing amateur radio back to its roots, where we're experimenting and creating our own stuff rather than buying stuff that's commercially forced down our throats by the big three. Not so much Kenwood. Kenwood, they're pretty good, but the problem with a lot of these things is that in order to get onto D-Star, you have to buy an ICOM radio. If you want to get onto Fusion, you got to buy a Yaesu radio. If you want to get up, DMR nowadays, you can buy a DMR radio from just about anybody, which is really irritating Motorola.
Yeah.
But with M17, the protocol can be implemented by anybody in any hardware that they want. So if you need a digital voice protocol for something, you could build it into your own radio, or you could modify an existing radio, put M17 onto that, and now you got a free and open source digital protocol that also carries voice. That's the way I like to explain it, is because even digital voice is just digital data. So it's a digital radio protocol that carries voice, as well as arbitrary data and everything like that. And it's completely open for anybody to use. No patent encumbrances, no copyright, further than, like a GNU radio, a GNU license for the software. So yeah, that's really what we're doing. Some of the hardware that we're developing, obviously, is the Module17 that we're working with today, which converts an analog radio that's 9600 baud capable into a digital voice radio. So the FTM 6000 that we're going to be plugging this into is an analog radio only. You plug this Module17 into the back of it, now you got digital voice on a analog radio, and it's not that expensive. That radio is pretty inexpensive compared to other digital radios that are out there. So you're kind of getting like a little bit of an upgrade by using that hardware. We're also, as I said earlier, CSI is developing an M17 handheld. So that's going to be hopefully sometime this year, I hope. We've got a remote radio unit, which is basically, if you're familiar with the way that cell technology works, where the transceiver and everything is up on the tower and all your controller stuff is down on the ground, and it's basically just like a fiber link and a power line up to the top of the tower. That's kind of like what we're developing, is a repeater that goes up on the top of a tower, and the only thing that you have to run up the tower is a fiber link. And obviously power, but you probably already have power, up there if you got like anything like a rotator or whatever. So you get this remote radio unit. Your coax length is cut significantly. So when you're doing stuff like on VHF or UHF, a lot of your losses are introduced by the coax going up the tower. So we're reducing the amount of coax that you need to run up a tower by putting the transceiver up at the top and then all the control stuff down at the bottom. And that's Wojciech's pet project. And then, of course, we got all kinds of software. M-Voice, which is a module, an M17 client that's based on or operates on Linux, gets you into M17 with just a piece of software, headset, microphone on your computer.
What was the name of that one, Steve?
It's called M-Voice. Mike, V, Victor, Oscar, India, Charlie, Echo, M-Voice.
Gotcha.
I
translated.
That was written by Tom, N5TAE. He's developed the M-Voice application as well as the MRefD reflector. So my M17,
K7TAE.
no, N7TAE.
Well, you said N5.
And
He's 7.
what did I say? Oh, I'm thinking Texas for some reason.
Hi, Doc.
So yeah, he wrote M-Voice and MRefD. MRefD is the reflector system. So if you're familiar with how Fusion has reflectors, D-Star has reflectors, M17 has the same sort of thing. There's Droid Star, so you can use M17 natively on a Android device. The Droid Star application, you don't need to download anything extra. You just download the application and you run it excuse me, on your Android, and it gets you into the M17 network. I'm sure that there's a couple of things that I'm missing. Ed, just stop me from waffling if you need to.
I like you waffling.
I like waffles.
I love waffles.
I got a question. So,
yes.
What's the so like for example, DMR uses the time slot 1 and time slot 2. What's the total bandwidth on M17 on an M17 call, and does it have multiple time slots like DMR, or you just one time slot per system?
So that's a good question. M17 is not TDMA.
Okay.
It is.
I should have just asked that.
Yeah,
Frequency division multiplex access. Okay.
And the bandwidth that's used is about 9 kilohertz. So it'll fit inside a 12.5 kilohertz channel. Well, it's not as narrow as NXDN where it's 6.25.
Right.
Or it's also not fudging the numbers like DMR does, where it's 12.5, but they're using 2 time slots.
Right.
M17 is truly 9 kilohertz wide, so it'll fit inside a narrowband FM channel.
Actually, check out that comment.
Yeah, so that's exactly what I said. 9 kilohertz.
Yeah. I wasn't
bandwidth.
arguing with you.
Oh,
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you, J Mac.
minimum channel
we got
space
the guy.
12 and a half. There was a question that I saw pass by about hotspots. I was just gonna talk about that.
I just answered that too.
So yeah, MMDVM does support M17, and that's what Steve was working on the last video. He was upgrading his MMDVM hotspot, or rather the MMDVM modem that's on his hotspot. The first software that was supporting it was WPSD, which is a derivative of Pi-Star. It was written by Chip W0CHP, and he's actually become part of the M17 project. So his software is receiving the same benefits that M17 does for hotspots and everything like that. So a lot of the team for M17 is focusing work on WPSD. I do it all the time. I work with Chip, doing upgrades and all that other stuff. So yes, it is supported on hotspots. But the unique thing is that you also need a radio in order to use M17 with that hotspot. So hopefully in the future you'll have a radio. I love
the hotspot has to be on 1.6.0 or higher.
Yes, 1.60 or higher.
A lot of them come from Amazon and the other places on 1.5.2.
Yeah,
and in WPSD under the advanced settings, there's a thing that'll upgrade your MMDVM firmware automatically.
Yep.
Yeah, supposing that the hotspot will actually take it. So a lot of people have been buying these boards off Amazon from a seller card called Rsync, AURSINC.
Yep.
They're not putting the trace for the Boot Zero line on the STM32 that's on the board. So there is a workaround where you actually solder a jumper wire from pin 20 on the STM32 to a ground on the board, and then you can flash up. Yeah, exactly. But it's fiddly. It's very, very small, very, very tiny.
It is.
Um,
So who
I
do you
hate that
recommend
'cause
for MMDVM
we've
boards?
used Rsync a lot. They've been
We
one
like
of
'em.
our preferred vendors, honestly.
So I have some personal beef with them. I'll be honest with you.
Oh, yeah. No, don't
Sure.
make up
They're-
lies.
Dish.
We're not
Dish,
we're not
sister,
dating.
dish.
Tell me the truth. If
So-
we're dating, you could lie to me, but
if I'm all right, I'm just speaking with my personal experience and my personal opinions. Rsync takes open source stuff and makes a profit off of it without actually giving back to the people that had actually done all the development. So they're basically making a profit off other people's work. The biggest problem with that I've heard.
sorry.
So the biggest problem that I have with that specifically was Sherry, the all-star nodes that were being made by what's his name? I can't remember his name, but his design was literally ripped off by Rsync. So I have some beef with that. If people are going to ask me what I suggest for an MMDVM board, I would suggest anything made by Zum Radio.
Okay.
I know Jim
I know
personally,
Zum's
and
good.
he's an amazing person.
The whiteboards.
Yep, the whiteboards. They're amazing quality. I feel like I'm trying to sell something to people when I say these things, but I'm not getting any money from anybody when I'm saying these things.
That's okay.
But honestly, I think Zum Radio makes a awesome product, as well as N5BOC. So there's a guy down in
The
Texas.
blue boards.
The blue boards. Actually, I think I have one.
What is the I can't think of the name of it either.
So this is an N5BOC board.
Okay.
It's called Lone Star, and
I see it. Yeah.
he's usually out of stock because so many people are buying his stuff. I assume. But as long as you're on like a wait list or you email him or something like that, he'll let you know when his stuff is available. If you're not in the US, what's this called? Some JTA BI7.
Yeah.
I think it's BI7 JTA. He's a guy that does work out of China, and he has some really amazing quality boards as well. Amazon, you're probably going to get something that's a knockoff or a ripoff that wasn't that was made to the cheapest cost possible. So a lot of the things that were actually put into the board as a reason for it, such as being able to upgrade the firmware, is missing. So they try to make the cut down the number of traces, cut down the number of parts, and
To save a buck. Yeah.
exactly. But if you're buying something from Zum, if you're buying something from N5BOC, if you're buying something from BI7 JTA, those are going to be standard, legit hardware that people are going to actually be able to use.
Okay. So I've got 4 wires left.
Yes.
Well, I think we're done, Chief.
I've
The
got
last
yellow.
wire is the gray wire. There is no yellow.
I
It's
don't
no
have a
connect.
gray.
There is a yellow wire.
Well, there is. There's no connection on yellow or green,
Okay, so yellow and green.
and there's no connection on white or the other black.
Okay, and that leaves me with purple.
The one that you don't have is gray, and it should ring out on 8 on the Yaesu side.
And I can't get that. So let's go down the rabbit hole. Where does that go on the DB9, depending on which generation you are?
That goes to pin 4 on the DE9.
I'm going to put it on pin 4 to make it easy to test.
I've called
But
that thing a
not necess-
DB9 about 100 times and probably will continue to say that.
Oh, I think DB9 is the right answer. That's what I grew up with. We're old school, Jim.
Right?
Okay. So I'm going to put that on pin 4, and we're going to try it out.
I'm going to go
It is
recompile all this in Fortran later, so I'm going to call it a DB9. You shut up.
I don't know why they changed the name, though.
It has to do with the case size.
Oh, is this some European
is-
thing? Is this some
No.
French ITU thing?
I mean, it's a
CTIA?
standard. It's a standard, but I don't know what the standard is. I just know that the difference between a B and an E is the size of the case.
So in this case, size matters. See what I did there?
I do.
See, now I'm looking it up.
I figured this is some European thing, like Deutsche Europo or whatever. I just made that up, but
It's not
Trying to
EIA,
find a
TIA.
Wikipedia.
right.
Okay.
Well, isn't
so
EIA,
let's-
TIA French? I think the French do all
No,
those
I used to work for them. It's American.
Okay.
They're in Northern Virginia. All right, so pin 4 on the DE, DB, whatever, on the D9 connector, on the 9-pin connector. Goes
Should
to
ring
what?
out.
On the
Should ring out to 8 on the Yaesu.
And it rings out to 8.
There you go.
So 1, 2,
Yahtzee.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
Yahtzee.
Yeah.
All right, and then I got a bunch of connectors, bunch of cables left open. Yuck.
I knew what
I
that
don't
meant.
like that.
Ed, you're old too.
Yes.
You're one of us. Okay. So the problem I had a long time ago. Let me solo myself because this is going to be a soliloquy. Do we have like lovely music to play in the background?
We can do that.
I had a cable that had no connect. It had NC wires. And I thought NC meant no connect. And apparently NC means never connect. Do not do this thing. And I had an amplifier, a Zygu XPA 125. And what I did was I picked it up and I moved it across the desk. The amplifier was off. It was not connected to a radio. The cable was connected to it. And the flying wires were flying. And 2 of the flying wires came in contact with each other or with the case or something and blew some stuff inside of the amplifier. And it was not a happy day, and I had to go in and do some small parts wiring stuff. Yes, indeed.
So the lesson learned is always carry around a roll of Kapton tape.
Yep.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going to go do. I'm going to go get me some tape.
But see, an
So,
honest
talk
mistake,
amongst
because
yourselves.
as far as I ever knew, NC means no connection.
Yeah, so it shouldn't be a problem.
So leave it alone. It'll be fine.
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I fixed it.
It'll be all right.
I lived.
That's Southern. It'll be all right. That's similar to
Jim-
hold my beer, right?
Jim, I didn't see you at Hamvention. I was supposed to be bringing you rye bread for the second year in a row, and we never connected.
I know.
Did you bring it?
No.
Okay, well, then
Perfect.
good.
Don't bring it. Don't try.
I had to go to the grocery store before I needed a resupply of Dr. Pepper, and so I perused the bread aisle there in the
It's
Kroger,
not capped on, but it'll do.
and they had beefsteak rye. I said thank you, and I took 2 loaves. Still
With
eating
or
on it
without seeds.
with seeds.
Ooh.
It is the way. My wife hates rye bread. She hates rye. She won't touch it. If that's the only bread in the house, she will starve before she eats rye bread.
Toasted
How's that?
rye bread for breakfast.
I will eat rye bread for
Phenylcaroline
breakfast.
Rye
I
bread
will
with some runny eggs.
That would yes. Rye bread with raspberry jelly, preserves, jam on it, also for toast, is very delicious. And we had some garden tomatoes. So today we're off she's off every day. She's retired and she's off, but I'm off today since it's a holiday. And so we had bacon tomato sandwiches for lunch, and I had mine on rye. It was just really fabulous.
So you had a BT.
I had a BT. Don't need
BT.
no
Ain't no
mayo
rabbit.
either. Had maters and bacon on rye toast. It was awesome.
Little mayo, little schmear.
No schmear.
Yeah.
No
No?
schmear. No, I don't like mayo. Can't stand it.
Oh, wrong one. That one. Nope, not
What
that
are
one.
you
That
doing,
one.
lad?
Whoa.
So I taped them down so they won't connect to anything. And it's ugly, and I don't like it, but we'll figure it out later.
It's going to be in the case anyway.
Well, no, I can't put that. I guess I could put that in the case. Let's try that. Can I do that?
Oh yeah, David Wilson Pumpernickel is good too.
Mhm.
Pumpernickel rye swirl.
Yeah, yeah. All we could get down here for rye bread that I've seen is Pepperidge Farm or
Pepperidge Farm remembers.
Arnold's, which is fine. It's okay, but they don't sell beefsteak anywhere down here in the South, so I just had to have some because I ain't had any in like forever.
Where's the boot?
I'm grabbing it. It was there. It just moved. All right, there's the boot, and then it has this strain relief cable. Let's act like we know what we're doing, folks.
We're only acting.
Right. This is Nuggets. We don't know what we're doing. We're just acting like we know what we're doing.
You guys going to be at Huntsville by any chance? Dave, Steve, Ed, Doc? I'll get all these
Dave.
names right in a minute. I don't know who the hell Dave is.
When is it?
Third
August
weekend of August.
17th.
Yeah.
August 17th.
August 17th?
That's my mommy's birthday.
Oh, no.
She won't miss you. She ain't missed you yet.
This is true. I don't think I'll be going to Huntsville. I'm planning on doing Ham Expo the next week up in New England, which is
Marlboro.
3-day Ham Fest. And Tamitha Scove will be there, and she's doing the something there. I don't know. And
Weather Doc.
Yep,
Good game will
Space
be there.
Woman.
Yeah, I saw good game at Hamvention. Hamcation, whatever the hell we were at just 2 weeks
Look at
ago.
that.
Ohio.
Look at that, folks.
Professional.
At
That is-
Dayton.
that is
Ed, that
freaking
way I
sexy
know what
right
I'm
there.
talking about.
You forgot the retaining screws, though.
What retaining screw? I put them in there. That's what I was just doing.
No. For the
No, for
For
these?
screwing it in and
Yes.
holding it.
Yeah, they're right there. Amateurs.
Special weather statement.
Uh-oh. You have some weather? I hate it when they come across with this big alert. Special weather statement. Fog. I'm okay. I'll be fine. Give me a special weather statement when there's like special weather, not just fog.
That must be an old one.
All right.
There's a lot of stuff
That-
south of me, but nothing close.
Then goes into there.
All
Just
right.
posh.
Doc, how's it going on your end?
It's going fine. I was just looking though. I've been reading the interface, the pinout on the CT39 packet interface cable, and looking at my FT818 manual, and I just think that the CT39 cable may be pinned different than a CT39A.
So is this still a
I-
6-pin mini DIN on the radio side?
It's a 6-pin mini DIN, but I just don't think that when I look at the diagram, I don't think everything matches up. We can go through it because you got an 818. We can look at it later. I think you have an actual your cable, your CT39. I think, if I recall, had the little diagram on the front of it.
Green, yellow, orange,
Yeah.
red, brown, black.
All right, yeah, we can look at that compared to like the FT818 manual just to make sure that.
All right, Jim, let's go through these one more time.
Okay.
I don't have enough hands.
All right. Do you want the Yaesu side or the DE side?
I want pin 1 on the serial.
Pin
No
1 is no
connect.
connection.
Okay, pin 2.
Pin 2 goes to pin 1 on the Yaesu. That's your brown wire. So you don't care about color at this point. Pin 2 of the DB9 goes to pin 1 of the Yaesu.
Yep. Okay. Pin 3.
Pin 3 of the DB goes to pin 7 of the Yaesu.
Yep.
Pin 4 on the
This is the
DB
hardest thing
side
I've ever
goes
done.
to pin 8 on the Yaesu.
Yep.
All right. Pin 5 on the DB goes to pin 3 on the Yaesu.
Okay, let me go back to pin 2, goes to pin 1.
Yes.
Okay, perfect. We've done 1 through 5 now, or we done 1 through 4?
We did 1 through 5.
Okay.
5 is the one that's
6.
going to blow shit up because that's your PTT. So I think you got that good. 6 is baseband receive, and that goes to pin 4 on the Yaesu, and that's 9600 receive on the Yaesu. And then the last one we care about is pin 8 on the DB, and that goes to pin 2 on the Yaesu side. Well,
this is hard to do. Okay.
Wiggle it around a little bit.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Pin 8 on the serial, right?
8 on the serial goes to 2 on the Yaesu. That's your ground.
Sorry, folks. My hands are getting in the way because this is a humongous pain in the butt. There's like no way to do that.
You have a DuPont jumper wire spare?
Not handy, no.
Yeah.
I have them, but good luck. This is 3,000 square foot of... Oh, shit. Okay. How many hands do I need? This is why you watch Nuggets, folks. Watch somebody else struggle. I'm hitting like 7 pins at once here. Urgh. I have no way of doing this. I can open the connector back up. That's no fun. All right, give me that number again, Jim. On the serial.
Pin 8 is the one on the serial side.
Well, that's not connected to anything, Jim.
Well, there's your problem.
Goes to pin
2
what on the Asia side?
2.
Yeah, like I mean, I guarantee this isn't going to make a noise. Yep, no noise.
So that's the
All right.
ground wire. Check to see if you accidentally put in the case ground rather than the signal ground.
Yeah.
Well, the big fat ground goes to the GND pin, and then the black
Alright, so
wire
then-
doesn't go to anything.
You got to put the black wire into pin 8.
Okay. See, this is why you double check everything. Measure twice, cut once.
Well, we talked about this, Steve.
We did?
T.O. Steve. Yes, we did. Because
We did?
not T.O. Steve explained all this.
Well, we got sidetracked down the M17 rabbit hole, which was a good thing, but, you know, while we were doing that, we were stuck. All right.
Theodore's
Pull the boot out.
Theodore's asking, in a Chinese factory, they make tens, if not over 100 of those cables per hour. What is T.O. doing that takes so long? He's not a 11-year-old Chinese kid.
Oh,
would be my guess.
Oh, ouch.
He has
You
big
can
man
find him
hands.
over at FEP Labs. I
They
don't do
probably
this
have
for
a
living.
machine to do most of this stuff. I doubt that any of this is done by hand. It's like wrapping toroids. Somebody did a video, and it might have been Good Game, a factory tour of MFJ, bless their hearts, a couple, 3 years ago, and he
in
showed the
peace.
toroid wrapping machine. And that was just awesome to behold.
All right, pin 8. Crap. See the things I do for you people? All right, pin 8. Let's bring it out. And it popped right back out. Y'all saw that.
And I don't want to give you any pressure here, but there's 171 people watching you right now. So
Oh, yeah. I'd say I
That
got
would-
this, but I'm not
that would
100%
be-
sure.
That would be cheering you on, Steve.
that's right.
They are. They love
We're
they love
suffering
this.
we're suffering with you right now, buddy.
This is the suffering that I don't have to do because Steve's doing it. I'm just going to go to, what was it, Kits and Parts? Kits for Hams?
Handmade parts, dude.
Yes.
Handmade parts.
Yeah. I've just always said, if you can't be an athlete, be an athletic supporter. So we're here for you.
Right.
Grease.
All right, that is wired in this time for real. All right, pin 8 on
pin
the
2.
That's pin 9 to pin 2.
Shell connecting 8 goes to Yaesu 9 or Yaesu 2. Excuse me.
That doesn't look like 2 to me. This is the row with the 3. Where is it? The 3 and the one that's spread out. So which one is the right pin on that?
Pin 2 is the center of the row with 3 together.
With the row with 3 together. That's not where this goes.
Check the shell.
The shell. No shell. See, this is where it comes down. Like I'm sweating here even harder than last time. There's the ground, the fat black,
And that's the one you want.
and that goes to the middle.
So then that's the one that needs to go into 8. So you got to swap them.
Yep.
Swap the blacks.
Swap them.
Okay, so that
So
is
you want the case ground to go to
the small black.
Oh wow, they have some cool stuff on kits for hams, don't they?
Mm-hmm.
It's probably cheaper to have gotten this from Kits for Hams than it is to build this cable tonight.
What am I going to buy tonight?
You're going to buy a cable for that 5160.
I've got a cable. All I got to do is solder in about 5 pins. It's not a big deal.
Why did you pop back out?
My problem is the freaking CPS software.
That reminds me.
So that's a Sherry unit all in one case.
Which one is that, Jim?
They're calling it a Sherry Pi Zero.
Oh, Pi Zero, nice.
That's for the 0W2.
Because the one that I have is the Pi 4.
This is
and I
the
have a post-it
one.
note on it with all the info.
That's the one I'm looking at right now. And it looks like it's an all-in-one unit. Yeah, that's a Pi Zero, but
The 02.
oh, that's a
that's
02.
nice.
Yeah, okay.
Mhm.
That would be even more compact for my truck. I have a Pi 3B with the external Sherry board that USB connects to the Pi, so it's like about this long.
Twice as wide, yeah. I'm not a fan of that one.
It works. I 3D printed a case for it so it doesn't get whacked by stuff.
I just picked up this hotspot. Well, it's called a hotspot, but it's for it's All-Star. Hotspot radios. It's a USB.
Hang on, I'm going to solo you there, Ed. There you go.
Hotspotradios.com. I think I'm going to hook this up for GMRS.
Okay.
It's pretty neat.
Hotspotradios.com. You people are going to cost me money.
Oh, Jim's gonna buy on stream.
Again.
You know what happens. That's how the first Flex got here.
Okay, that's not ringing out.
God, my desk is a mess.
No,
Yeah,
mine is too.
let me unsolo you there, Ed. There you go. Yeah, I usually have a green screen back here because usually this back here has got cables and wires and junk, and I just sold a giant spectrum analyzer that took up most of it anyway.
Okay, so that black wire is not going to case ground. That's going to the on the 3 pins where the 2 are together. It's going to
8.
Geez, that's hard. It's Going to this one.
That's going
Going to
to RX data.
Pin 8, I think.
So, just as a reminder, the last time Steve and I were on the show, we think we were here for 3 hours.
I was thinking
we've got
it'd been
10 minutes
a
left.
while.
It was a 3-hour appearance we made.
Were you on the
so
D-Star
pin-
show too?
No, we did the USB hotspots, the Zoom spots,
Yeah.
and that turned into a 3-hour show. And there was
I
no
think
wire.
y'all kept getting sidetracked, like just
I've
now.
got this one, Ed.
Yep. So this is the newer one with the built-in antenna.
Built in.
Okay, so pin 8 on the D9 is now going to the middle pin on the top row of the 3 pins close together. Is that
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So now the ground, the shell connector ground, the black wire that we swapped doesn't go, it goes down to this first connector, the two together at the bottom.
It
Which
doesn't show.
says serial data, which is weird. It should have
The
been a
thin black?
gray. Yeah, it should have been a gray.
I don't have gray.
You're purple, I think, Steve.
So what is the case ground?
I don't have a wire for case ground. I have one black wire, and that goes to pin 8 on the shell on the DE9.
How many wires are actually in that cable?
Oh, geez.
He's
1,
got
2,
about
3,
10 wires.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've got 10 wires. 10 for 10.
So you don't have a shell ground or a case ground.
I do not, you're saying?
You do not.
Okay.
A case ground would be another probably bare conductor.
I was going to say that's going to be
Okay.
like a bare wire.
That makes sense. So this black wire that I connected to pin G and D on the 9-pin connector shouldn't be connected to anything.
No. You got it. You got everything wired up correctly, but for some reason you've got that case ground wire that's supposed to be on pin 4.
Pin 4. Pin 4, I've got purple.
Yeah, I'm wondering.
That's the one. That's the
purple
one
wire
that's
is.
gray. See, there's no purple wire even marked on this pinout.
Okay. Pin
Well,
4
you
should go
also-
where? Pin 4 goes to the solo connector on the 3-pin row.
So you've got 2 wires that go to that same pin.
Pin 4. He's
Shane,
right.
you're
No,
right.
Steve, he's got pin 4 on the DE9, which is Cat TX,
Oh.
and that's going over to pin 8 on the Yaesu side. And
Yeah, but
Which is the solo pin on the 3rd row.
and you said we didn't even need the Cat RX and the Cat TX
No,
wire, right?
You don't. But I'm wondering if that thin black wire that we thought was case ground is also connected to the purple wire somehow inside the cable.
Let's check. It is not.
Oh, like they were tied together.
Yeah.
Unless they're
Like
married
a-
at the pin side.
Yeah.
You check that
But-
side of it.
Pins 3 and 4 on the DE9 aren't even used. So
Okay. Let's run through this again. Pin 5, I've got red. That should be what?
pin 3.
Okay. Pin 4, I've got purple. That should be,
8.
8.
which is the solo pin on the 3-pin row.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I'm going to
Okay.
let Steve do this because this way there's a second set of eyeballs telling you the right
Yeah.
thing. So when you get it
It's
wrong,
only a couple $100 here. All right.
Wow.
Pin 3 is blue. Where does pin 3 on the 9-pin go to?
7.
See that one? No? Okay. Yep. I can go with that. Pin 2 is orange. Brown? Brown.
Brown.
Crown.
And that should go where?
1.
And then orange is pin 6. That should go where?
4.
Yep. And then what do we have next? Pin 7 is nothing. Pin 8 is black.
2.
2. Yep. Sorry.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. All of those ring out.
Now let me just make sure one thing. I'm just looking at their diagram. So on the DB9 or the DE9, according to the M17 project, it says NC
No
on
connect.
that. Yeah, no connect. So just right.
That's
'cause
what
I'm
it's supposed to
looking.
mean.
Yeah. Okay. You know, the interesting thing, Steve, I when you opened your package originally, right, you had a Mylar film and it said
Mhm.
the the CT160
7.
7, correct. But there's the colors. I have a Yaesu box with mine, right? Mine's in a brown box from Yaesu.
So you spent
There
the
we
extra
go.
money and got yours from Yaesu.
Well, whatever, DX Engineering or whatever.
Duck is not
I
cheap.
no,
I
but
got mine from
it's just
eBay.
well, no, but I do have a gray wire, so your purple is my gray, and then I do have
Okay.
a fat black. So let's just see here.
Not that we're fat shaming, but I have a fat black and a skinny black.
A thick wire.
2 C's thick.
Yeah.
I guess somebody coming over with a reflector here.
Hey man, I heard you all were doing that M17 stuff.
KD5PQJ.
I see that I knew this shit when Steve told me what we were doing tonight. I went and did a little Googling, otherwise known as research.
Cheat.
Yeah. No, not on the wiring part. I see that Alabama Link is linked in with M17 as well now. Those guys are. I need to try and get Doug on the show. I've talked to him before. He's
Let's see if I
local,
can
like
get
to
Alabama
me.
Link here.
334 on M17.
Yeah, but on NXDN.
Oh, yeah, they're 31010 on NXDN, I think.
2311010.
Ain't nobody talking.
Well, hold on. Let me
also.
let me jump on this side. Since I don't have a functional M17 board, I'll have to use another protocol.
Hey,
Don't judge me.
NXDN, and no, to be honest with you, out of all the modes that I've used, NXDN is my second favorite.
Your second favorite?
Yes.
I traded a buddy of mine. He had that ICOM radio, and I traded him a G5RV in the package and some ICOM receiver I got off of eBay for a functional radio. And I was like, oh, NXDN. I'm sure there's 3 or 4 people that use this. And I know for a while here, and I think still do, a lot of public safety stuff in Alabama is on NXDN. A lot of the ambulance companies are still running NXDN. Because I think that's where this radio came out of, was a bus. Let's see.
There's a question in the chat from Michael KN4VA. M17 Charlie Reflector is the one that most of the team is on. So M17 Reflector, Module C like Charlie.
Oh, no. Oh, it's
So
because
ideally, I would like for as many of the rest of those wires to land on this cable as possible, but that's just me and my weird engineering stuff. I don't know why they made a 9-pin serial connector connect to a 10-pin radio connector. Shame on you, Yezu.
That's almost getting into the territory of why do we still have DVI on the back of our
Oh,
radios?
why? For the love of God, why?
Well, I mean, Don's not here, so somebody had
It's
to say
cheaper
it.
than HDMI.
But it's not. Okay. Next up
That's always
is
what
radio.
that's always what big DVI says, Steve. We can't afford
Right.
the licensing for HDMI.
I think it's Yezu wants all those radios sent back from everyone that blows up the output chip because of the HDMI to DVI connectors that don't
Right.
work.
And him, DeLorean, yes.
WT1W, KC1A, Alpha Whiskey Victor.
Oh, yes, sir. I can hear you just fine.
Cross mode for the win.
All right.
I'm on Fusion. I came in on Fusion.
Oh, nice, nice.
Yeah, I don't have a functional M17 diddly squat, but and of course Frank is on there too. Get away, Frank.
Okay, so the radio is alive. Is the M17 supposed to be powered off of the radio?
If your radio had the capability of powering 12 volt off of the back, yes. Some radios, like commercial or public service radios, will be able to do that. They have a 12 volt, output.
12 volt pin, yeah.
This
one
one
appears to
not do that.
The
No, you
FT,
need a USB-C.
exactly. There you go. Or if you got like a 12 volt adapter or a 12 volt, brick, you can plug it into the barrel jack.
I've got that somewhere.
Oh, Chris, thank you. Chris KI4 Whiskey Charlie Oscar just gifted out
Ooh.
5 memberships.
Thank you, Chris.
Robert Rittenhouse, Ted W, Ham DeLorean, Lee McSee, and Jeff Wingett all got memberships.
That's 5. The barrel jack on the back of the Module 17, what is that for?
That is 12 volts in.
12 volts.
So if you wanted to power it off a vehicle.
Right, so this will power off USB or the 12 volt barrel.
Right, but not at the same time, please.
Not at the same time. Right.
Yes, I need that USB for something else.
Right.
But now I need to find my 12 volt connector, which I had handy. There it is.
Should be a standard 5.5, 2.1.
Oh, yeah, 5521. That's not standard. 5525, boys.
Oh, maybe I'm wrong.
It's 5525. It works.
Okay.
What in the
No,
ever loving
So
hell?
I've never plugged this into 12 volts.
Oh, great. Should I stop now?
No, it should be fine. It should be fine.
Should be fine. Famous last words. Okay, so unplug that.
Well, that's why I did send you 2 of those boards, Steve.
Right.
Well, maybe he'll have to reflash a new one.
I was hoping to save that for the static video.
I was hoping there's smoke. I want to see a sacrifice.
Well, we'll see what happens. Hey, look at
It
that.
works.
Hey, as advertised.
And the power button works as advertised.
Okay.
Oh, very nice.
I will be honest with you. My heart did skip a beat.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. Whew.
Well, no one's hit PTT yet, right?
Well,
Hi.
I hope he won't without an antenna attached.
Well, that too.
What do we need an antenna for? That was not what I drug over. That's what I drug over there. Thank you. All right, so we've got the Module 17 board up, and it's got its fancy display doing fancy display types things. And the Yezu is not unhappy. It's also on the wrong frequency.
It's also on NOAA radio.
Yeah, that's what I was doing last. And then I need a dummy load.
Well, there's one in the chair.
Yeah, plug Ed into
In
it.
your chair.
Ah!
It's actually going to be easier to plug our actual antenna into it. No, maybe
Shane,
not.
I have no idea.
Transmissions.
Yes.
I'll go restart it just for you, Shane.
we're going to use the Bree antenna.
Which is actually not a bad antenna.
So, Jim, you're going to love this. I actually put some thought into this. It's an end-fed half-wave.
Yeah.
I wonder if it'll actually be able to handle the. Well, you can probably crank the power down.
Well, I need to anyway. That would be the smart thing to do.
Smart.
Smart.
I mean, I can do that, or I can put a. I mean, actually, the radio went crazy. The Bree antenna is 20 watts.
Oh.
So I did this the other day. Menu, TX power, low. Perfect. We're on low power. Get off of that frequency. And I don't remember what frequency we were on our Pi Star. It'll pop up.
Yeah, it'll show it in the dashboard.
Hi, Steve.
I think it was 431.150.
Shane wants to know if D-Star's having an issue, Jim.
I already was talking to him and have restarted the embed controller on that computer. And I'm about to connect to the other one and restart those processes as well because the software is shite.
Now, do you have to put your name or your call sign in the open RTX board?
Yes.
Because I know there's an option to do that.
So the reason for that is not because of the Module 17, it's because of WPSD. So WPSD will only, out of the box, will only recognize your call sign. So your call sign has to match from the radio to WPSD. Unless, of course, you're running a repeater. So the way that Steve has it set up right now, the call sign is open RTX and the hotspot will reject it.
All right, I've got that machine on and running.
Now, the big question we also had, there was a debate last week about whether or not in WPSD, it says host name, node call sign, and then the DMR ID. So Steve left his blank because we felt that you did not need the DMR ID.
You need the DMR ID if you are running DMR, of course, or you're doing a cross mode into DMR, or you're doing a cross mode to another mode. So the reason for the cross moding is because your call sign needs to translate into something that's universal, and radio ID database is kind of universal. So it doesn't look up based on your call sign to transfer that information over to the DMR ID. The DMR ID then gets translated into another mode. So, but for M17 use, you do not need to use your DMR ID in WPSD.
So if you're on M17 on Alabama Link, for example, and then you're keying up on Alabama Link and I'm on the Yaesu side, without a DMR ID, I'm not going to get call sign info. It gets weird. There's a lot of, it's weird.
The way that I think that it should work is that the reflector would do that translation for you. It would pull your M17 call out and then translate that into a DMR ID for WPSD, for P25 and NXDN. The only other mode that I know of that can take the call sign data directly is Fusion, because your call sign is your call sign.
Right.
It's not a special ID.
I'd like to congratulate you guys on making this 1,000 times less complicated than D-Star.
Yeah. that was one of the major considerations when it came to developing the mode. There's wonderful things that you can do on D-Star, but like you said, it can be kind of convoluted, not as much as DMR as far as I'm concerned.
Oh, see, I think it's the other way.
I find that using code plugs, and I think that's just the nature of the way that DMR used to work. Because front panel programming was not a thing for DMR. It was all commercial. So a lot of that is still missing in some of these radios, except for maybe the Anytone. I think the Anytone you can do front panel on it. But, D-Star, I always found D-Star to be a little bit easier, but connecting to reflectors and doing gateways and all that other stuff and having to sign up on a US trust, system in order to get your call sign recognized. M17 did away with all that. We're just like, your call sign is your call sign. You're an amateur radio operator. We trust that you know what you're doing. So just give them the lowest barrier of entry to a digital voice mode and just let them key up and start doing it. The only one that comes close is Fusion.
Fusion,
but you're locked into a Yaesu environment for that. So,
All right, so I've got a big mess of wires, and we can clean this up later. But I have the M17 board plugged in through the connector to the back of the radio. I have a stupid antenna on this for what we're doing. It is what it is. I have the Pi-Star hotspot running. The display is not showing anything. And I have that going here.
I was going to do that.
And I've got a cheap Baofeng mic plugged into the M17 board. And if I key up on the Baofeng mic, the radio keys up, and the hotspot lights up, but the dashboard doesn't do anything. KM9G.
Because your call sign on the Module17 does not match the call sign that's in WPSD.
Yep.
I did not program a call sign into Module17.
Well, there you go.
So,
we got to do that, buddy.
How do we do that?
All right. Hit the menu button. Scroll down to M17.
I have settings, info, about, and shutdown.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, settings.
Settings, display, M17. Call sign, open
call
RTX.
Sign. Click on that. Now use the up and down arrows to change the letters, and left and right to confirm or go back.
That makes
now
sense.
It's going to be 1 hour of button pressing.
Right. I'm good at this. And I have a short call sign.
And then hit enter to back out one, because it'll have that. Check to make sure that the underscore isn't there.
It is there.
Yeah, so go back in. You'll have to type it in again. Unfortunately, it doesn't remember it. It just clears it out.
It's just like typing in your password on your Roku device.
Once you get to the G, just hit the enter button.
Oh, Shane is confused, T.O. Shane,
there we go.
I don't know what Shane was doing, but yeah, we're on Alabama Link because I don't have functioning M17 here.
Okay.
Steve connected to Alabama Link on the M17 side, which cross all of the modes, including M17. That's how we could talk from Yaesu to M17. And when T.O. gets his fixed, he should be able to do the same thing.
KM9G. KM9G. Is that me keying up on your side?
I'm not seeing. Do it again. I didn't see anything.
KM9G.
Wait. Go to my screen, Jim.
Okay. You're keying up on docs because you ain't got it right.
Yeah. See.
Look at that. Well, there you are, Sparky.
Yeah. No. But my radio over here is keying is. So the FT 818 is
receiving M17,
but I'm not getting it back into the board necessarily Oh, well, that would be because I'm not connected into the board right now. But nonetheless, I see him coming up on the reflector.
Yep.
Now, my
Yeah, I'm coming
cable going
through.
over to... Yeah, there's no doubt about that.
517.
That was me.
Yep. I see a KM9G in that list.
Yeah,
About third call down. Yeah.
but I'm not seeing it on mine. KM9G.
You're not linked to a reflector, Bucky.
What do I got to do?
Link to a freaking reflector. So
You're
go
a mess.
to admin, TO, top right.
Oh.
Oh, there he goes.
Oh.
Yeah, it just took a little bit of time for it to show up
Okay.
on his side, I guess.
KM9G.
There we go.
Oh, awesome. It's working.
KM9G, KC1, AWV, congratulations. You are now connected to the M17 Charlie reflector.
I can't believe we did this right. Oh my goodness.
And it sounds really good. I think somebody
All right.
bugged us. But yeah,
Where's that? Where's my favorite button? Where's the live caller button? There it is.
Somebody's
Luck.
getting
It still has
excited.
me in luck. I'm getting all damp in my hand parts, Jim.
Oh, Lordy.
KM9G, WT1W. You got your ears on, big boy?
It's moist.
He has moistness. Him DeLorean, WPSD didn't kill Pi-Star. Pi-Star is Pi-Star. It hadn't been actively developed a lot in the past year or two. I think there were some health issues with the guy. I don't really know exactly. And so
Yeah.
Chip, W0CHP, originally had made
KM9G
WPSD
testing.
added on top of Pi-Star. It replaced the dashboard with Pi-Star. And it was that
I'll be
way
back,
for a
Steve.
year or so. And then he took that dashboard and just made a whole new
KM9G,
Pi-Star
KC1,
replacement called
AWV,
WPSD.
testing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It's looking great there on that screen.
Awesome.
Beauty.
We didn't blow up a $300 radio. I'm happy.
You need to make a custom case for that now that holds the slidey case.
Oh, I need to wire it all together like I know what I'm doing, for sure.
I need something a little more professional there, son. At least some
Yeah.
gaffer tape to hold it together.
Yeah. What is
Doc,
the knob for? Good question.
Volume.
Volume. Yep.
On a previous version, there was actually a switch on the. It wasn't a rotary encoder, but it was a switch. It was a power switch, so you turn it on using the knob, and then the volume would go up and down. It's probably not going to change a whole lot on the speaker mic, but there is a header pin jumper pin or header pin that you can use on the board to put on like a 4 ohm or 8 ohm speaker directly wired to the board.
Oh my Lord!
Ted,
you people, I live
every
here, so try not
fifth
to screw this
episode,
up.
every fifth episode, something works right.
Frank and Shane are jabbering on Alabama Link now. I mean, if y'all are not going to do M17, you can get off Alabama Link and go to Toads. This is the only mode that me and that Steve can cross mode on, because Alabama Link has all the modes, including M17 and YSF. That's why we did it.
So how do I get onto Alabama Link?
Go back to your admin page. Go to admin. And
So I
go
just gotta switch
to
up on this one.
M17 Mangler. Yep. And then go up there to your select reflector module and type Alabama.
No results found.
Try 334.
There it is, 334.
Yep.
Which module do they have linked? Do you know?
I do not know. I don't think he said. I think it just said 334.
334 Charlie. KM9G on Alabama Link.
Oh, I turned my radio off because Frank and Shane were yammering.
Just yammering.
What was that, B or D?
Bravo.
Bravo. Okay. So you got to go back to the M17 manager and switch your module to B Bravo. Yeah, we got to fix the kerning on that.
I don't see a way to do that.
So you got to just select 334 again, and then switch that module C to Bravo. Yeah, there you go.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, it's hard to read because the drop down is right on top of the letter.
Yeah,
I thought that looked odd. It was
gotta
weird.
love CSS.
Yep.
I don't know what you're talking about there, Steve.
Bravo.
That's some web. That's some
Cascading
web
style
stuff.
sheets.
You quit talking to me about your web stuff. If it's not in Turbo
AM9G on
Pascal,
Alabama
it's
Link.
crap.
Bravo.
Turbo Pascal for DOS, I might add.
I heard nothing.
KM9G. Testing. Kilo Mike 9 Golf. 1, 2, 3, 4.
I'm not getting you.
So it's not Bravo.
Well, I mean, I just got a beep. I don't know if that was you.
Bravo. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that's not me.
That's not you. That's Frank. Frank, we're holding this frequency for a YL net in 5 hours.
So it says current link is 334 module B.
So I'm trying to get to their dashboard, and I'm not connecting
Hang on,
to it.
They changed their website. Try, is that right? Yeah, alabamalink.info. This is actually a fairly popular reflector system that these guys run. I mean, it's not 30 Charlie, thank God.
So this is their XLX reflector.
Yeah, it's in here somewhere.
M17 334. Here it is. Okay, so Alabama Link says, yeah, Bravo.
I hear you, Shane.
334 Bravo link request change, which is going to put me on the thing I'm already on.
Hey, Jim, can you let Doc back in?
Oh. Where did he go? Oh, I don't think that's the one Doc wants me to share. I don't see Doc's face yet.
He says he's stuck backstage.
Yeah, he's got no camera and no mic.
Who's Mike?
And then we have this. Doc Brad is in the stream with audio only. Doc Brad, I see two for you, and
Chris, I did click on the link radio button. And we go over to
KM9G,
admin.
KC1, AWV. Are you hearing anything at all?
Nothing. Yeah, so it says current link is 334 module B.
It could be that they are not linked right now.
So if I was a generic M17 user trying this for the first time, what should I connect to, Steve?
I would stick with M17 Charlie. That's the default in WPSD. Has the highest probability of finding somebody.
So I'm switching to M17 Charlie.
And then I can change that over here.
1.
Back to the dashboard. KM9G on M17 Charlie. KM9G on M17 Charlie.
now see, Steve and I talked earlier. He was on Alabama Link M17 because I'm on Fusion Alabama Link right now.
I get Michael down in Virginia trying to hop on.
Steve,
KM9G, KC1, AWV testing on M17 Charlie.
Not having it.
Doc, I'm going to,
That's
Doc, if
probably
you can hear me,
on
I'm going
my
to kick
side.
you out of all of these because you got like 4 windows and I'm not sure which one is actually you.
November 4, Victor Alpha on M17 Charlie via Droid Star.
Yeah, I'm not getting that.
KN4VA, KC1 AWV. Just doing some testing here with KM9G. So, yeah, stick around and we'll see if we can figure out what's going on with Steve's radio here.
All right, Doc. Can you hear us? All we have is a rotating twiddle character for you.
To answer Ken's question there, yeah, you can. There is a man by the name of Tony Langdon in the M17 Discord channel that can talk to you about that. He is currently cross-moding a lot of digital voice modes through DV Switch. And it works really, really well.
KM9G.
Steve, Chris Bricker has a great point. Why don't you go in the admin panel and try and unlink and then relink? Just clear your cache. Delete your cookies.
I like
I was
cookies.
sharing that screen.
I like cookies too. I have chocolate cake waiting for me.
All right, Jim, it's sharing. Going to the admin. Going to do what now?
Go to the M17 manager. Click unlink. I think you unlinked. Request change anyway. Unlink.
All right, we're unlinked.
And then let's make sure that don't click nothing there. I want to wait and see if your status changes to unlinked.
I should just check the dashboard, see if he's actually connected.
Which dashboard, mine or yours?
He's talking about his, I think.
Yeah, you're not linked right now. That's what the problem is.
Good. So I unlinked. So we're M17 Charlie. I'm going to hit link again. Request change.
Link to M17
It's
Charlie.
the D-Star lady.
And it'll take a second to show up on my side.
It says standby.
Doc, we're not getting any video or audio from you. It's just
KM9G. See now see it's my hotspot's acting up now. So KM9G, KC1, AWV.
Nothing.
I'm sitting right on top of my hotspot, so it's my bit error rates through the roof.
Comfortable.
Offline. Well, that's not good.
It's only temporary.
It's the name of the channel.
Steve gets it.
Huh? Christ almighty, it's like I'm sitting here playing cards with my brother's kids or something. You nerve-wracking sons of bitches.
Is it? I mean,
Is it?
Well, it doesn't look
Works.
like it's doing anything. WPSD is not. There you go.
Oh,
Maybe
I see it
coming up.
connected now. Yeah.
Yeah.
KM9G on M17 Charlie. There we are.
Oh, geez.
And now Steve's out.
Yeah. No, it's because I'm sitting right on top of the thing.
Right on top of the thing.
Oh. We doubled.
All right, KD5 PQJ, I heard you clearly on my end. Thank you very much. We're testing out a new Module 17 connected to a Yaesu FTM 6000. And I heard you. Thank you very much for coming back.
Congratulations to you for finally getting on M17, sir.
Ed, I know you're a longtime fan of the channel, but this is not our first time on M17, brother.
Ed was probably drinking that night. I mean, he's Philly Ed.
Right. He's probably drinking tonight.
Hey, wait a minute. I haven't been drinking, but you're going to start to laugh after I'm being over 50.
What was that, Boomhauer?
Well, they say M17.
Right.
They say memory is the
I think
second
he's
thing to
on,
go. I can't remember the
Droid
first
Star.
thing. All right.
Okay.
Awesome.
Ta-da!
Well, it works. Success. Hang up quick. Get off the stream. Goodbye, everybody.
Doc is still okay. Now he's back.
He
There
just
he
got
is.
back.
I mean,
You
I
guys-
kicked you out like 5 times because all we were getting was a rotating
I
thing.
know. I think I had some sort of a. Can you hear me
Gl-
okay now?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think we big thunderstorm over here and it took out the Wi-Fi, so I'm pure cellular now. So
Oh, yuck.
I am back.
Chris
Well, we're not-
Bricker, no.
That's okay. Yeah, no, it's working. That's great. I guess you guys about to shut down.
Yeah, we want to get off before we screw anything else up and have to stay for another hour.
Right.
Well, I do think the one thing I would just double check. We should, for those who might want to use an 818, just looking at the pinout on the m17.org, it's for a 39A, and I think the wiring's a little bit different for a 39. So we should definitely double check that because
Michael, it's on the list.
yeah, right, exactly.
Ted. Frank, I don't know if I want to go to 334.
So the thing about OpenRTX is that the developers are over in Italy, so it might be a little difficult to get them at this time.
Oh
of day.
yeah, it'd be like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning in Italy. We'd have to do something on Saturday or Saturday morning, I guess.
Or if you come to Germany,
I don't even have a valid passport anymore, and there's a list or 2 that I've seen my name on, so I'm not entirely sure.
KM9G on 334.
I have a passport. It's right here. I think it expired in like 2008.
oh, that's well beyond the 10 years of. Yeah, you'd have to fill out a whole new form.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. This is a pre 9/11 passport that I got in 1998, and I think it's 10 years on a passport.
Yeah.
Yeah. The last time I was overseas was 99 and 2000 to Korea. That's it.
Reflector not linked.
Not linked.
See, we should have just stopped. Frank?
Oh, Ed, is that 3D printed holder for the 6000?
Yes.
You were talking about that. And it just slides right in and clips, right?
So it just slides in, yeah.
Oh, I like that. I mean, it's a little wonky.
You're a little wonky, Ed.
It needs to be just like a hair smaller.
I detect some jankiness.
So,
Well, it
But
wouldn't be ham radio if it
But
wasn't.
I like that.
janky.
I like that concept. So that's meant to sit on your desk and hold the radio.
and it slides through the rails, apparently. It needs to be like a 0.5 millimeter tighter.
Oh man, that would be something like that would work for the 5061 too. Then I could set it here because I have no other use for that radio anymore. But cool, that's a good idea.
That's Wojciech behind me. He's our founder.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's
He
That's what it looked like.
He looks very European. You could tell.
He's a peon, all right.
He'll probably be
All right, it says
watching
I'm
this
connected.
in the morning.
KM9G on 334B.
Nothing.
Well, no, it said RX when I keyed up instead of.
You got a
Oh,
wire
yeah, because the
backwards.
hotspot's receiving. Never mind. No, the hotspot's receiving from the radio.
Whiskey Tango 1 Whiskey Kilo Mike 9 Golf on Alabama Link.
Nope.
Oh, we
It
switched
still says
back over to
standby on my
Alabama Link?
hotspot.
Think your hotspot got too hot?
Yeah, it's possible. KM9G on Alabama Link. KM9G on Alabama Link.
I just saw
Shit.
Frank keeps keying up, but yes, I saw Frank and I saw Steve. Other Steve, not T.O. Steve.
Too many Steves.
All the Steves.
Can't swing a dead cat for hitting a Steve.
All right.
Well, this is interesting.
Frank, I blame
like,
you.
There's like a ton of Alabama links listed in here. Huh.
KM9G. Kilo Mike 9 Golf on Alabama Link via M17. My hotspot is seeing it just fine.
So I'm seeing you come in as KG6NLW.
That's Frank.
That's because he
Oh,
won't
well,
stop
that's-
keying up, Frank.
Damn, Frank.
Now,
Stop
he's going to
it.
go somewhere that Frank isn't.
We need a QSY to the secret frequency. WP3JM.
Link 2N17 Charlie.
So now he's
Frank
back
didn't
over
hear
there.
that.
Yeah, I haven't seen you come across since half past the hour, so about 6 minutes ago.
KM9G on M17 Charlie.
Link 2.
All right, you might have come across there.
517.
Are you running a 3 or a 4? Pi 3 or Pi 4?
4. Now that lit up.
Yeah, somebody's calling me or Frank. I don't know. I'm going to shut it off. Can't hear him.
KM9G on M17 Charlie.
Every time we key up on the show, whether it's this one or Toads, everybody keys up on the radio. And the audio, you guys, between the radio and
There's
what
a
I
delay,
hear
yeah.
here is delayed, and it's very hard to actually make sense of anything that's being said. It's weird. Weirder than when your cousin was staying over at your house that one time.
Okay, so we got it working and then it stopped working.
So it's got to be
Thanks
the
for Frank's.
hotspot or your network. Because I'm thinking that it's the network because the hotspot seems to be working just fine. It's still picking up your transmissions and it's still transmitting.
Mhm.
It's receiving something from the net, but it's that connection when you're switching reflectors that seems to be the issue. Because I don't see you in the reflector.
Want to play another game?
Oh, Joe Brett showed up.
What is target info?
That's the D-Star lady.
KM9G on M17 Charlie.
So MRFD also has this kind of like a timeout where if you disconnect and then try to reconnect real quick, it'll ignore you for 60 seconds. So it's possible if we just do a reboot, it'll have enough time for the reflector to time you out
Yeah.
and then allow your connection back in. And a reboot's always fix everything. So
Ken, he did unlink, relink, but I don't know. He didn't do it with authority.
yeah, unlinking and then relinking within
A few
a
seconds.
certain amount of time will cause the reflector to ignore you. And I could probably sign into the reflector and actually look at the logs and see what's happening here. Which is
that implies we're going to keep doing this for much longer.
Well,
Right.
I got it right here. So it's
Okay.
130, 1017, 130.
All right. On that note, I'm going to bed, y'all. Gonna be up at 3 a.m.
Ed.
See ya.
Ed, thanks for
Thanks,
coming,
Ed.
man.
Yeah, have a good
thanks,
night.
Ed.
Good luck. I'll watch the rest of this in the morning.
Right.
Bye bye.
There shouldn't be much more.
Hi,
of
Ed.
this.
If I can remember my password now.
All right, we are back up and running. And it says we're connected to the right reflector. KM9G on M17 Charlie.
You just came across mine.
There I am.
There it is.
Yep.
Holy crap, let's quit now. Frankie's not on Alabama Link.
All right, I got KK4EHV. I heard that.
And you're hearing everything out of the speaker mic, right,
Yeah.
Steve?
Yeah, out of this
Okay.
thing. Awesome. All right. Before Frank asks me to do anything else, I heard you. Quick key up, Steve.
KC1 AWV testing 1 2 3 4 5 5 4 3 2 1. This is a cross mode from NXDN to M17.
Heard ya.
Awesome.
All right. So before anybody makes any changes, it works. Thank you very much. See you all later. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, Brad.
Yeah,
Thanks,
you're
Jim.
welcome.
Thanks, Ed. Clicking the button.
Do
All
it.
right.
73, y'all.